Hello, it's me. Just wanted to say hi real quick. I was going to do an unboxing video yesterday, but I totally messed it up. And also, unboxing videos are corny anyway. You guys don't want to see me do that. So you get the previously unboxed video today of some fun stuff I got in the mail yesterday. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Happy Valentine's Day, happy book launch day, happy the Jazz beat the Pacers last night day, whatever you want. And here we go.
Well, today is the day, let me tell you. Not only is it the time to actually share this with the world, I'm so excited about this book, but I also have this one and this one all out right now, available on Amazon. Actually, there's a couple more, but we're not going to talk about those quite yet. What I really want to talk today is about change and why I've decided to do this. In November, I kind of set some new goals. I like to set goals for myself in November. I set them in January. I always fail. But I set goals to feel younger, which is a really kind of weird goal to try to set, because at first it doesn't seem very subjective, and I'm very objective. It is very subjective. I'm really pretty hard on myself when it comes to setting objective goals, and so I kind of had to make a list of what feel younger meant to me, and a lot of those were health related. I've had some weird health stuff happen this last year that has caused me to try to figure that out, so there were some, pretty interesting KPIs, key performance indicators I could put towards that. And I'm happy to say those are going well. But I also thought that feel younger for me was to kind of like get back to a happier version of myself. And so I went back to when I started writing and that freedom and joy that I felt before I kind of got into the whole publishing side of things, and how could I capture that again? And then I even went back further to like what made me kind of want to write in the first place. And there's something always been compelling to me about kind of Western Americana, and not just American stories, not just Western stories, because I do love Westerns in general, but that kind of feeling of some of the people that I love to read, like Larry McMurtry and John Steinbeck, and certainly Louis L'Amour, were massive influences for me. So I set a goal in November to kind of start in on this whole process of writing for fun, finding that original passion that kind of got me going on things. And if some of you were kind of watching some of my social media about a year ago, I started trying to do this writing thing, and I floundered a lot. And it took me towards the end of the year till I kind of found something that I really loved. Some of it was going back to that, like setting that goal, feeling younger, and realizing what that was, and realizing that I was missing the joy that came along with feeling younger. So that's where Navarro's Gold came from. I absolutely loved writing this story. I had such a blast, to the point where I'm going to write a bunch more. I just love the pulp kind of side of Westerns and what they offer, and the potential for serializing these things is so much fun. And for you kind of gamer nerds on my channel, this is really inspired by two games that I absolutely adore, which is Uncharted, the entire Uncharted series, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Not a big shocker there, I'm sure, but that concept of kind of combining Western with adventure is really where this is. I guess if you're really into those games, you'll probably get this reference. To me, this is like Nathan Drake takes a chapter of Red Dead Redemption 2. I absolutely love this book. It's really fun. I think you will too. It's about a guy named Cole Baxter. Cole is he grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth for sure. And after losing the love of his life to his best friend, he decides that if he can chase after and find this treasure that was kind of lost by this pirate named Navarro, that he can win back his girl. There are reasons why that feels like a legitimate and real goal, and not some crazy idea in his head, and you'll have to read the book to kind of figure out and find out why. I absolutely had a blast, and it really goes back to my roots, which is a lot of fun. So if you're interested, and if you have KDP or the Amazon Kindle Prime stuff, you can read it for free. I totally love it if you do that. I don't care how you read it, or when you read it, or what format you like it in. I think you'll enjoy it, and I just want you to have fun and read it. So don't worry about format, whatever works for you. I love the hardback because I'm a sucker for off-white paper, and I think this just turned out really nice. The paperback is also beautiful, of course. Both of them have this nice matte cover, which I love. But anyway, and I also really wanted, I should probably talk about the design of the cover. I wanted it to feel like a classic old pulp novel So that's kind of where I went with his colors, and even went with the design itself, and even the side black spline, which I plan on, of course, continuing as I go forward. So I hope you enjoy it. It was an absolute blast to put together. I want to quickly also talk about these, which this has been a really fun project for me. I've been working on this for forever. Some of it came from kind of like helping my kids become artists, and I'll share some of their art down the line because I think you'll be sufficiently blown away with kind of the artists that they've become and kind of what they've done. And so this is a little different method on learning how to draw and how to color that I've kind of applied to what, you know, watching them grow as artists, and even looking at like working with other artists in the games industry and people that I've worked with about critiquing their art and like teaching about structure. I keep coming back to the concept of form and shape is the most important part of art. So that's really what the emphasis behind these books are. So these are I'm calling them my ultralight coloring book idea here. And really what it is each book will have kind of a quick art kind of lesson that is in each one of them that kind of talks about a different value or a different fundamental. So this one, for example, this is my cottages book, Gardens and Cottages. This one really hits on what value is and how value works to tell a story, and even on some things, even also kind of hits a little bit on what's called atmospheric perspective. If you're interested in finding out what that is, there's tons of it in the book here. On each page there's maybe a little, either an idea of where to start your drawing, and then each one of them has a finished version of what the drawing looks like to me. You might have a different opinion of what that is in grayscale. And then it has what I call this ultralight version, where I've lost all the lines that you have in a traditional coloring book. Part of that is that I feel like the lines are a little too limiting when it comes to kind of your own interpretation. But the other part of that is that I really think it's important as an artist to start seeing shape. Line is used in a very different way. So in color books, it ends up being like this trap around your creativity. And we even come up with like expressions like "don't color outside the lines," which as an artist I fully disagree with. So the idea here is that you'll be able to take these, and these ultralight versions are really kind of simplified versions that are breaking down and only showing you the basic shapes of the drawing. And then you can go in with your medium of choice and add in those details and add in those values to try to make this work. I really think it'll be fun to kind of play around with different mediums here. I've done quite a few as I've kind of built and experienced with this. I'll make some videos of how that shows up. But you know, anything from, even watercolor works pretty well. Markers work great, but for both of those you'd probably want to slip a piece of paper behind here so that they don't kind of soak through. Colored pencils are great. Chalk pastels have been a lot of fun. I haven't had a lot of success with crayons, but I'm going to dedicate myself to getting better with that because I think there is some potential there. Anyway, this one is a lot of fun. So this one is kind of all focused on gardens and cottages and what value is and how value works to help you tell a story. And like I said, also about something called atmospheric perspective. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I mean, the quality is just great. As far as a coloring book goes, I think it's a home run, and I really do think one of the things that I can really say I'm focusing on here is teaching you how to improve your art confidence, which I think is a huge part of being an artist. I don't know how many times I've been told something similar to either like, oh, I love to draw, but I can only draw stick figures. Well, I get that. And it does become kind of a habit to kind of lean on those type of crutches, right? Drawing with structure. This will help you kind of break away from that, and it'll help you start to see things like as rounded shapes and as forms rather than just strictly line. So this one's a lot of fun. I actually think overall this one might be the bigger range. These are all kind of like similar difficulty. And by the way, also, I didn't show you that. On the bottom of each page, I also have something here which has like time to completion and difficulty. Yeah, it's kind of hard to read that. Difficulty. The difficulty one's just my judgment based on, you know, what it might take to put the painting together or the illustration together. The time of completion is something you're going to have to kind of solve on your own. So don't think of those as hours. Think of those as blocks of time. So for me, I'm a fairly fast, it probably depends on medium. If I do watercolor, which is probably my preferred, and I'll do some examples of that, then I'm fairly fast. So I would say that those blocks and times of completion probably represent 15-minute blocks, right? So if I look at that and I could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so maybe this is an hour and a half for me to finish this drawing. If I were to do it in ballpoint pen or something that might be taking a little bit more time, or maybe a mechanical pencil, it might take considerably more. Maybe those blocks of time move up to like a half hour or 45 minutes each. But if I was going to do it really fast with maybe chalk and just want to base in color or pastels or something quick, maybe it's even faster than 15 minutes. So think of these as blocks of time. And you'll kind of get a good idea of how long it takes you to complete these images. And as you do that, I think you'll have a better idea of, you know, how long it takes you as an artist to finish these things. This one here is probably, I mentioned this, the difficulty on this one is probably a little bit more, they're kind of similar. They're probably all in that, like, I'd say out of 10, they're like 5s, right? This one's kind of different because I think it's got some pieces in here that on the surface are a little easier to complete. And I kind of explain why in the book. Like this piece might come off, piece might be a little easier to start with. You can see it's kind of got a lower difficulty rating, lower time. But kind of depending on the medium, this one really could be difficult. Sometimes getting big soft gradients is a tough thing to do. So I'm hoping it'll encourage you to experiment with different types of medium as well. This book is focused on detail. That's kind of the key fundamental on this one. When it comes to detail, I really want you to kind of experience a couple of things here. One, how do you draw a viewer's eye to the focal point? Where do you use detail and how often do you need to use it? What's overkill and what is kind of your goal? So a lot of these I really kind of push by saying, you know, like before you start, think about where you want to put the most detail. An image like this is pretty, the detail is kind of everywhere, which is kind of an interesting thing. But if you pay really close attention to these lines, to me, all these lines draw you right up here to this focal point, which is your highest contrast area, which I really want the viewer to look at first. I think it's an interesting thing. And anyway, we kind of go through those same things. You'll see that each one of these is beautiful. By the way, my daughter did a sample of this one for me that is, she used rapidograph pen, like a brush pen, and pastels, and it was absolutely beautiful. I have a time lapse of it. I'll share it eventually to kind of show you what it looks like. Just to give you some ideas. It's been really fun for us, my whole family. I'm begging them all, and friends, some very good friends came by and did a draw night with us to kind of experiment and see what this does and how it helps you as an artist. I really, really love them. I think they're a lot of fun, and I think you will love them too. Give them a shot if you're interested. They're pretty affordable. They're $6.99 on Amazon. They ship nice and quick. And that's about it. So anyway, on this lovely Valentine's Day, thank you all who have already purchased books. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I'm learning so much, which is the thing that makes me happiest, is learning. So this has been an incredible journey for me. I honestly still have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how to market these things other than to say hi to you people. I just have so much to learn, but it's so much fun, and I really feel young again. I feel like I'm kind of itching that old scratch I had of just being a storyteller and just sharing my art and not worrying about anything else. I'm not worrying about how I publish. I'm not worrying about making it perfect. And I know there are errors and mistakes. It's probably so many. But I'm fine with all of that. I'm fine with hoping that you guys can see the core of what I'm trying to get here and that it will kind of resonate. Anyway, I love you all. Happy Valentine's Day and happy book launch day. Bye.